Hello and welcome to Argoed Hall near Mold, where we're here today with Tom Blecher, who is one of over 300 people involved in our EIP Wales projects. The idea behind EIP is to provide funding to groups of farmers and foresters who want to trial innovative ideas, methods or technology at a practical level within their businesses. We've got 46 projects running all over Wales, covering a wide variety of sectors from beef and sheep, poultry, horticulture, but it's one of our dairy projects that's brought us here today. The Genomics project was one of the first projects awarded funding back in 2017. It involved a group of 9 dairy farmers from across North Wales who wanted to investigate the benefits of using genomics testing when making breeding decisions. It's great to be here 3 years on with Tom and Vicky from Kite Consulting, who's leading on the technical side to discuss some of the project results.
Morning Tom, how are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Well, it's great to be here on Argoed Hall Farm. Remind me a bit about your farming setup here.
So we're milking 400 Holsteins on an all year round calving system. We're running around 9,000 litres per cow, running around 4.3 fat, 3.5 protein on a manufacturing contract with Arla, so looking to drive solids going forward.
So Tom, it's great to see the cows looking so well. Remind me what it is that you're looking for as a replacement heifer for this system.
So basically we're focused picking around PLI. I want a small stature cow with plenty of chest width, with good production and most importantly fertility, but yeah, we usually just factor in that into PLI and then go on solids and kilograms of solids. That's what we usually try and look for.
So Tom, you said you've been selecting mainly on sort of PLI and a few different traits in order to achieve your replacement heifer. Just talk a little bit about your rearing system and what you do to achieve that.
So we've been basically picking the highest PLI bulls we can get that suit our criteria, and then we were trying to get the majority of our replacements off our heifers, which would in theory be the highest genetic merit animals we've got on the farm.
And before this project, had you done any genomic testing before?
I'd done the odd little bit to try it, but we'd not done anything like major. We just dabbled in it a little bit really.
And what interested you, Tom, to take part in this EIP Wales project?
Well, really, I wanted to be able to find a level to sort of see how we compare with other herds in like similar sort of systems in the country, and basically to just see what variance there was within our herd and see how that actually compared to the PTAs we've got on farm.
And how easy was it to actually do the genomic testing specifically?
Yeah, very easy, very simple. It was just a simple tag and test, and yeah, very quick and efficient. We actually did it at the same time as we were vaccinating, so we didn't have to handle them any more times or anything. It was just, we sort of brought it into the standard vaccination routine.
Once you had your genomic results back, what did you think the difference between the genomic results and the traditional results showed?
It surprised me really how much of a difference there was between the actual PTAs and the genomics, and it surprised me the difference in spread of the herd. There was quite a larger spread than what I thought there'd be. I thought they'd be more uniform because we've been using similar groups of bulls for a number of years now, but there was quite a few outliers really.
Because if I remember correctly, I think you sort of on average, because we tested 38 of your heifers, didn't we? And I think on average your heifers reduced from about 222 average PLI down to 147, so we had a reduction there of just over like £70 worth of PLI, which was actually a bit more than what we saw on average across the project, because for all of the 9 herds involved, we actually saw an average of like minus 46. But for me, I think one of the most interesting things that it wasn't just a straightforward drop or shift in PLI downwards. We actually saw a re-ranking of those animals, because I think you had a couple of great examples, didn't you?
Some of my lower PLI ones actually ranked out a lot higher.
Yes. I think there was one animal before that was like 54 PLI and actually turned out to be like 239. So she sort of went from right down at the bottom up to the top. So I think that was quite a big eye-opener for me being involved in the project. So yeah, it was great to sort of see that come to life once we had those results. And now the project's finished and it's taken us 3 years to get to this point. What's your biggest learning from the project?
I think the biggest learning for me is, having the genomics is great, but it's a vast amount of data, and you've got to sort of process, interpret that data and use it to sort of make informed breeding decisions, because it's all very well having all the data. Unless you're doing something and acting upon the data you've got in front of you, then there's no point in doing it.
So Tom, ultimate question then is, are you going to continue with genomic testing now that the project's finished?
Yeah, no, I think we will. I think now we've sort of reached a stable herd size and we're not sort of increasing in numbers. I think every cow place has got to become as efficient as possible. So I think using genomics will definitely be a way to lower our carbon footprint going forward.
You mentioned an interesting point there about, every cow place and now that you've grown in size, because one of the questions that we get asked quite a lot about is how many animals should I genomic test? And I think it really does depend on that individual farm situation. So for you, when we first started this, you were growing, weren't you, in herd size?
Well, I needed every heifer replacement that I had then, whether it was 25 or 100 PLI points, that I needed that heifer in the herd to sort of fill a replacement level. But now we've sort of stopped growing, we can be more selective in what we breed to, kind of thing. And
I think that's the key point here with genomics, is being able to increase that selection intensity by being able to choose the right animals to breed those heifer replacements from, because like you say, trying to maximise the number of heifers you get from your heifers.
So especially with advances in sex semen, we can target our genetics to our top genetic merit animals, and potentially use more beef semen as well, which will hopefully give us better calf value.
And are you using more sex semen on your milking herd as well now?
We've tried a bit this year, but only on first lactation animals. We use a lot. We serve everything for 8 weeks with sexed for the maiden heifers, and then we're just trying it on any ones that have had an easy calving or no problem cows and first lactation animals. And it's holding their own. They're doing all right on it.
What would be your advice then, Tom, to anybody that's looking to start genomic testing for the first time?
I think you've really got to go into detail, because sometimes it might not be the answer for everyone. If there's potentially management changes that you'd be able to see a great return off, I think some farmers are different. They might see a great return, spending the money used for genomic testing on changing those management aspects. But once you get to a sort of settled herd number, and if you're looking to maximise efficiencies going forward, I think it's definitely got a part to play, and especially going forward as we're trying to maximise output per cow and get the most efficient cows we can. I think it's the best way of increasing our genetic gain.
And I think it's a fair point that you make about improving management versus improving genetics, because I always like to say that genetics loads the gun and management pulls the trigger. And I think you've proved that with your investment in sand beds here to improve the management and laying times and that sort of thing. Because some people will have more to go at, because the phenotype or the environment does have a huge effect. Anywhere between 50 to 70% of what you see in an animal's performance is down to their environment, and genetics is sort of like 30 to 50%.
So, turning the tables on you, Vicky, as project manager, what was your biggest take-home message from doing the project?
Well, I was really interested to see the difference between actual performance at the end of their first lactation and comparing that to their genomic results or to their traditional PTAs. And I think that's what really struck home for me the benefits of genomic testing, because although we didn't see any differences in lactation yield or solids yield, we saw big, significant differences between days to first conception, number of services, and cell counts as well. So I think what that actually showed is that genomics can help you improve fertility and cell count performance quicker than just using a traditional PTA.
Yeah, so the lower heritable traits, you can make greater genetic gains.
Yeah, exactly, because I think fertility is about 0.09 heritable and cell counts about 0.15. So even though yes, you're going to make small gains, actually you'll get there a lot quicker with genomics, just because the accuracy of those indexes are increased, because a traditional PTA is only about 35% accurate, whereas the genomics are you're increasing that to 65% accuracy, and you're getting there. If you can genomic test at a couple of weeks of age, then you can have that information for when they're first served, so you don't have to wait till the end of their first lactation before you actually get some information on that animal's performance.
Yeah.
Tom, one of the things that we found in the project was the amount of misidentified sires. So we had about 5%. Is that something that you have an issue with on the farm?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it happens. We have the occasional one or two, but we try and keep a close eye on it. But if you're having a large number of calves, especially as everyone's trying to tighten the calving pattern and get them to calve within a certain period, yeah, it will happen, but it'll definitely be one of the benefits towards it.
Okay.
Especially with inbreeding that as well, with halotypes and everything, that could be another factor with that going forward, couldn't it?
Yeah, because you can get different types of genomic testing. You can do one with all those sort of like haplotypes and the recessives included, or you can just get a straight sort of genomic test. So the price difference I think is about £25 for just the genomic testing, and I think it's about an extra sort of like £5 to include the recessives as well. So there is that other angle and another benefit to think about with genomic testing.
Like all our matings are based on a mating programme now, so hopefully that will factor a lot of those out anyway, but no, it'll definitely help, especially if you said there is a lot of missire identity in it as well.
Even though we're no longer accepting new applications for EIP, there's still plenty of support available through Farming Connect. For example, the advisory service offers tailored support on business planning or a range of technical topics. Support is up to 80% funded for individuals or 100% funded for groups. If you want to know more about this genomics project or the work being done through EIP or the support available to you, please visit the Farming Connect website or contact the local development officer.